Start record. Hello. Today we will be talking about a section in the reading module, and in reading module, it's very common to get true, false, and not given questions. So today we will be learning how to solve this particular type of questions. First, let's learn how we should approach this type of questions, what our strategies should be. Strategies should be. In all the reading modules, we must look at our passage and we must answer according to our passage. We must keep in mind whatever our passage says. So, passage is everything. Then, the second thing would be, do not assume answers. Do not assume answers because we will be answering according to our passage. Assume the answers. And the third one is that for this type of questions, we will be matching or comparing the statements. So which one are the statements? So these are the questions, or these also can be stated as the statements. So these are the statements and this is our passage. So we will be comparing them side by side. So our task is to compare the statements with our passage. With passage. Then let's see how we will be comparing. So there will be three type of scenarios. The first scenario is that suppose this is our passage and this is the statement, right? The first scenario is that the passage and the statement both say the same thing. Obviously, whatever is written in the statement it won't be in the passage, but the exact words won't be there, but there are similar words, or there must be a phrase which convey the same meaning. Somehow, if they convey the exactly same meaning, or though different words, but the meaning is the same, or both say the same thing, then our answer is going to be true. And if the answer of the passage or the saying of our statement, they differ or they are differ or contrasting, or a very good thing is that we can say that they're saying the opposite thing, then our answer would be false. Suppose our passage says, I love mangoes. And our statement is saying I'm not fond of mangoes. So see, there won't be the exact same word. So it would be somehow paraphrased using synonyms or a phrase that conveys the same meaning. So our passage says, I love mangoes, but our statement says, I'm not fond of mangoes. But this is not true, right? This is the opposite of what is being said in the passage. Therefore, as the opinions are opposite, it is false. Now, let's see how we can find another type which is not given. if the statement or the meaning that the statement is conveying is not explicitly or clearly mentioned in our passage, mentioned in our passage, then the answer would be not given, right? Let's see a small example. Suppose our passage says, like mangoes. And our statement is saying that I like to eat rice. So in anywhere in the passage, there is no mention of rice, right? We can't say that whether I like to eat rice or not, or I don't like to eat rice just by reading the passage. It says about mangoes. There is no explicit mention of rice in the passage. Therefore, we can answer this question by reading our passage or understanding the meaning of the passage. We can't answer whether it's true or false by looking at our passage. Therefore, it would be not given. Okay, then let's learn some more thing about the true, false, not given question type. True, false, not given. Yeah. So they generally, it's very general or usual that the answers would come in order. The answers would come in order. Would come in order. It's usual that, but we can't guarantee that. It's very likely to happen almost 90% of the time. And when true false not given is there in passage 1 and 2, it's more likely to follow the usual thing. But sometimes we can see that in passage 3 or in the passage which is more difficult, they are not in order. But it's a usual scenario to be in order. Why I am saying this? Because it's helpful, right? So suppose if it's in order, then you will obviously find the answer of 3 after you have found the answer of 2. So you need not to go back to the previous portion of your paragraph or your passage. So it saves your time, this hack, right? Therefore, I am conveying this message. Then another very important thing we need to learn to solve this type of question is to find the keywords. And also, one good thing is that to solve this type of question, you need not read the whole passage. If you are good at finding keywords and locating them, then it won't be much difficult for you. You need not read the whole passage for this particular question type. Oh, I am saying again and again one word which is keyword. So let's learn what keywords are, right? So keywords. Keywords are our clues. So these are the clues that take us closer to the answer, closer to our answers. Suppose someone is asking, who's the father? So there are thousands and crores of fathers in this world. But if someone is asking, who's the father of Messi? Then we have our clue, right? A name, Messi. Then just finding the name of Messi's father would be enough. So the clues are usually the name of person, or it might be name of a place, or it might be the name of certain things. And one important thing is that to find the keywords, you need to ask questions to your statements. That's how you can find your keywords. Some season could be our keywords, or there might be some adjectives or adverbs which say if a certain thing happened all around the year, or it's partly, partially, or completely, right? So things that make differences, so that we can find out those differences and uh, get some clues to find our answers. So these are our keywords. So we'll see when we start solving. So let's start solving this question type. So these are our statement and this is our passage. So at first, we would read the heading of the passage. It says the return of urban beekeeping. So that we can get some idea what the passage is all about. That means that the habit or the trend, urban beekeeping or the beekeeping in urban areas is returning. So let's see how we can solve this question type. Our first thing is to identify the keywords. Our first task is to identify the keywords or highlight the keywords in your question or in your statements here in your statement. Then we would be looking for those keywords in our passage, and then we would compare them side by side. Look for those keywords in passage, and then finally you would compare. Okay, so let's proceed following this rule. So our first task is to find the keywords in our statements. So let's read. It says urban beekeeping has become more popular partly because organizations wish to promote environmental responsibility. So therefore, we have found a clue. So the whole passage is about urban beekeeping. So it's obviously there. So it has become what? It has become more popular. See, I told you that we need to ask questions to our statement. It has become what? More popular. How much? Yes, it's become more popular partly, not completely or wholly. Why? Because organization who Yes, organization. Who wish to promote? Organizations. What do they wish to promote? Environmental responsibility. So that's how we find our clues. We need to ask multiple questions to our statements so that we can find those clues. And then we need not read the whole paragraph or passage, just to look for these clues. And obviously they won't be in the exact same word. We would be looking for the synonyms or similar words or phrases which convey the same meaning in our passage. And one very common technique for reading is to scan. And if you are a fast reader, or you develop the habit of reading fast or longer articles, then over the time you will be good at scanning. So we would scan and try finding our keywords. So let's try finding some of these more popular organizations or environmental responsibility. Let's see whether we can find them or not. So we can see a word trend, which is similar to something that's popular. And we can also see environmental. And there comes a word says demonstrate. So which is very similar to promote. And then we have found one word, sustainability. So sustainability is one kind of environmental responsibility. Sustainability means that things that are going to last longer in the longer time, right? So when we have found a few of our clues, we would read the whole sentence. So it says this trend has been encouraged by environmental groups, local governments, and even businesses, hoping to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability. So, and we can also see that the combination of these three, environmental groups, local governments, and even businesses, these three can also be marked as organizations, right? Organizations. Organizations. Therefore, we have found that. So let's see what they say. Okay, it says, one second. Okay, so these organizations are hoping to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability, which is a kind of environmental responsibility, as this has been a trend or it's encouraged. That means that it's getting popularity, right? So, whatever our statement says that urban beekeeping has become more popular because the organization wish to promote one environmental responsibility. Our passage also say the same thing, right? These three kind of or these organizations are wishing to demonstrate. Demonstrate can be a similar word of show, display, promote, right? Their commitment to sustainability, which is an environmental responsibility. So this is the comparing part. So they mean exactly the same thing. Therefore, our answer is true. Let's try solving the second statement. So for now, I would like you to help me to find the clues. Please unmute yourself and read the whole sentence and tell me what could be our clues.
Okay, the first clue can be the scientists.
Yes. Then,
Scientists have always believed
yes, always is a good clue. Then,
cities
yes.
provide better conditions for bees than farmland.
Yes. Better conditions than farmland. So, thank you for answering. Please mute yourself for now. So, how we have found the clues? So, who says the scientists say, right? Or what have always believed? So, they have believed always, not partially, partly, right? So, this type of sentence words do make a change. We will see in the next couple of statements. So, after that, then they believe what, that cities provide what, better conditions. So there, this sentence means that the scientists have believed that the cities are better for bees than farmland. So let's look for these clues in our passage, so that we can answer. So we, after scanning, we have found the word scientist. Believed is also found. Then we have found the word cities as well. So let's read the whole sentence. It says, for decades, scientists believed that bees would struggle to survive in cities because of pollution, limited vegetation, and heavy human activity. So, our passage is saying that for decades, scientists have believed that cities are not good for bees because they would struggle to live here. But our statement says that the cities are actually better for bees. So, which is the opposite of our passage, right? So, these opinions are contrasting or opposite. Therefore, our answer here would be false. So, let's solve the number 3. It says modern farming can leave bees with limited food supplies during certain times of the year. So I would request you to again unmute yourself and try answering the keywords or clues.
Okay, I'll go with the modern farming.
Yes, then
Bees, limited food supplies,
yes, this is a very good clue. Afterwards,
and Certain times of the year.
Yes, yes. Because there are difference between the phrase certain times of the year or it's all around the year. So let's look for these clues in our passage. So it's usual to for the answers to be in order. So we would start finding our clues after the answer of two, which was here. So we would scan from here. Let's see whether we can find such clues or not. So we have found the modern agriculture. Then afterwards, it says that yes, few food sources. We have found our clue. And another one is that flowering season has ended, which means that after a certain time or portion has ended. So we have found our clues, and now we would be reading the whole sentence. So it says, in contrast, many modern agricultural landscapes consist of vast areas devoted to a single crop, leaving bees with few food sources once the flowering season has ended. It means that when the flowering season or blooming season has ended, bees are left with only a few food sources. Why? Because usually in modern farming, in a land, only a single crop is grown, and when the harvesting season of that crop is gone, bees do not have that crop. That's why they are left with few food sources. And our statements say the same thing, right? So certain times, so when the flowering season is gone, the bees are left with, or bees have so modern farming is leaving the bees with limited food supply. So both of they convey the same meaning, therefore our answer would be true. So we have seen true and false, so let's look for one which is not given. So I am going to solve the number 8 to demonstrate how the not given type of answers are mentioned in the passage. So we can see here it says the writer believes climate change will certainly cause urban beekeeping to disappear. So here our clues are climate change. So what will cause? Climate change will cause what? Urban beekeeping to disappear. So our statement is saying that due to climate change, urban beekeeping is going to disappear. So we need to ensure whether it's true or not. We have found our word climate change, and we have found another word effect. So cause and effect go hand in hand. So let's see what our sentence says. We can't find us in the coming decades. Coming decades says something about the future, right? So this is the change about future. So let's see what our sentence says. So it says climate change, changing land use, and the spread of bee diseases are likely to affect both urban and rural bee populations in the coming decades. So it says the climate change is going to affect the bee populations, but it hasn't mentioned whether they would disappear or not. So let's try reading some more lines to whatever it says. So, researchers therefore emphasize that protecting pollinators requires a combination of scientific research, habitat restoration, and public awareness rather than reliance on any single approach. So they are also encouraging taking different initiatives for so that the bee population is protected. But there is no mention of disappearance, or we can't answer just by reading the passage whether the bees would disappear because of climate change or not. As we can't answer this question whether it's true or false by reading the passage, therefore the answer here is not given, which means it is not mentioned in our passage. So that's all for the demo class. So this is a demo class. That's why I am keeping the content short. And obviously, in the usual classes, that's how I will show you how to solve, will communicate with you. And if you have any questions, you can obviously ask me. I will solve the questions, and after solving one passage by myself, I would give another passage to solve you by yourself. And after you have solved that in a certain amount of time, you would let me know the answers. I will evaluate your answers whether those are correct or not. So that's how my classes are usually conducted. So I am stopping the recording for now. Thank you for listening.